introductions. So, for those who don't know, my name is Monique Macklin. I am the Pink Power CEO, and I work with people who average $50,000 a year or more who have a desire to build wealth, and I teach them how to make, manage, and multiply money.
Hi, I'm the Prophetic Financier. I specialize in helping people create more income, more time, and location freedom by thinking better, banking better, and leveraging better.
Yes. So, again, the topic today is the entitlement is unreal. And I think we kind of touched on this just a little bit yesterday, and I thought it might be a good discussion to have when it comes to people who are willing to, you know, put, 4 years, 8 years into a college education for the hopes of a career, right? For said career, and again, create six figures worth of debt to acquire that. But when it comes to people who are experts in their field, who can help them actually gain access to true freedom and true wealth, not a job where you're doing the 40, 40, 40, um, they think that that information should be provided for free. The game should be provided for free on
Well,
how to get there.
let's start with the first thing, right? Again, listen to the language that we use amongst ourselves or amongst social media. The
Hmm.
game. It's
The
not a
game,
hustle. It's not a game. It's a
right?
process, right? It's a
Right.
competitive sport, but it's
Yes.
not a game. Life is not a game, and it shouldn't be played with, in that
Mm.
light.
Hmm.
So it's not about giving up the game. It's about getting access and proximity
Hmm.
to power, to information, or to
Hmm.
people who are doing things in a first-hand knowledge basis, as
Right.
opposed to getting knowledge. Well, knowledge is all right, but if it's not applied in the right way, it'll never translate into wealth. And so I
Hmm.
think we get fixated on the fact of information inflammation, if you will, that
Yes.
gathering data and
Yes.
info makes you secure and safe. That's the way our primitive mind used to work. The more
Hmm.
resources we have access to will elongate our survival. But we
Right.
have now learned over time, right, that gatherers are not necessarily doers.
Doers. Correct.
And
Not
so
ready to execute. Just hoarding information.
absolutely. And so for that,
Hmm.
we need to change the way that we proceed in this scenario. So yeah, the entitlement, that because someone else has made it to a certain point, that they're supposed to give their effort, their labor, their time and value away for free. Now,
Hmm.
I'm one who's big on uplift. I believe in that each one teach one, each one lead one, but in
Correct.
the same energy and spirit, right? You can place the energy into acquiring material things just to say that you acquired it, but and you place value on that, but you don't place value on the time, the dedication, the perfect practice makes perfect that someone else has done to
Yeah.
get to a certain place, that they should give you that for free. That entitlement is false.
It's it's greatly false information. So I know people have said to me, even on social media like Facebook and stuff, they're like, well, since you have all this information, why don't you do free this and free that and free this and free that? I'm like, you know how long somebody's had to go through the not even just the trainings, but the battle scars that we have attained along the way just to get to this point. And no, I'm not hoarding information. I'm not gatekeeping information, but I'm not going to just, hand it to you on a silver platter because you're not going to appreciate that at all.
Correct.
There's no appreciation. Even if I think you had mentioned before, some people could come to you and maybe kind of intern for you, right? Maybe they can't afford your services, but they can do something to in return or in exchange of that information or
Right.
to learn from
Right.
you or to sit alongside of you,
Well,
right?
to determine in the community, the way that we determine if a person has a very high coachability or teachability index is the measure of how much time and or financial resources they're planning to give into something to get something,
Right.
right? So yes, there are some people who have time expertise, or money. Those are the what we call that the tripod of wealth. Either you have
Correct.
the time, the experience, or the money. There are some people who have the time, but they lack the experience and the money. So what is the asset that they have to barter with? Their
Correct.
time.
Correct.
So that's
Mhm.
where one would go and identify a mentor, a coach, someone who's done the things that you like to do
Mhm.
and have gone the places you desire to go. And then you offer your service of time in exchange to learn the trade. But we
Correct.
don't see that because we've been taught again, I want to earn while I learn.
Yes.
Well, if you
Yes.
just look at the word learn, there is a letter called L in front of that, right? So you
Mhm.
have to learn and then you drop the L in
To
order to
earn.
earn,
Mhm.
but not
Exactly.
simultaneously.
Right. Well, not no. I mean, in some instances, I guess if you're going to a job, they do pay you for your time while you're learning their systems, right? But if you're again, if you're trying to break the shackles of the being on the plantation, and you're again trying to align yourself with somebody who's doing what it is you are doing, and you cannot um, compensate them in a monetary way, then what do you have to offer that you can exchange so that you can again be in their proximity.
What's the old adage? Fair exchange is no robbery.
Correct. Correct. Thank
But there
you.
has to be an exchange, if you will,
There
right?
has
There
to
has
be.
to be some
There
that
has to be a fair exchange, like
there
you
has
said.
to be a fair exchange that each party sees value in that, right? That's why
Correct.
in the community we talk about you have to become the salt of the earth and add flavor and favor to people that you come in contact with. And so
Mm.
so if I'm going to give you some flavor so that
Mm-hmm.
your life can have favor,
Mm-hmm.
what are you willing to exchange? And that comes back down to having the right audience or speaking to the right people, right?
Right.
Because until you identify, the person itself identifies that it has a core problem that needs fixing or
Mm-hmm.
needs a solution, and they
Mm-hmm.
have to realize that that problem is going to cost them more than any exchange that they would make to get the solution. Those are
Correct.
people who are ready to go to the next level. When you realize self actualization, that
Mm-hmm.
your problem is costing you a fortune
Mm.
and you need to get an answer, a resolution
Mm-hmm.
to where the resolution's cost of the resolution is minuscule compared to the cost of not solving the problem. So I always ask folks, well, if you're tired of being tired of living poor and
Mm.
losing a lot of your time to get a minuscule wage, what is
Mm.
that going? What is the price or the cost of you not changing your social condition?
It's true.
You
It's,
failing to act, how does that affect you and your family? How
mm-hmm.
much shame, guilt, and disgust would you amass not solving the underlying pending problem?
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
So these are the kind of conversations I have with individuals who pass through, if you will, my gatekeepers, and we're able to have a very clear conversation, right?
Right.
As a businessman, as a minister, as a financier, I always say that when anybody that I talk to, I'm going to help them unlock their past, help them understand their current situation and why they're there. And then and only then can we uncover their future, where then I can help them earn more income, have more time freedom, have more location freedom. But it always starts with unlocking yourself from your past because we walk
Mm.
around with a lot of old baggage and programming that is preventing us from moving into where we desire to be.
This is true. We keep trying to uh keep doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results, of course, right? But why do you think people are so easily or okay with acquiring six figures? Because as we said yesterday, college education is about 40,000 a year. If you did that for 4 years, you're at $160,000 in debt. And in many instances, you're not going to even come out making 100,000. Most people out of college are around 60, like 60, $65,000 a year. And you still have this debt. And then what will happen is as those student loans become due, they will then decide to go back to school some more so that they can prolong having to make those payments, only to maybe get a bump up in their income, maybe. but they're willing to keep going down that rabbit hole where it's not going to lead to wealth. Is,
Well,
as we all know, a job
well,
is just
well,
over broke, right? So in many instances,
let's look at the whole process, right? The reason why it's an easier entry point is because student loans, you don't have to pay it up front to
right,
get access to information. So people think that they're gaming the game, if you will.
correct,
Because they're going to get the information first and don't have to, and then pay later, the whole wimpy process. Give me the education today and I'll gladly pay you in 4 years, right?
right,
That's generally how that works. But the problem is they never said, well, when I do graduate, what exactly is the interest that I'll be paying
hmm,
on the debt? I mean,
yes.
that's a question I want to ask the listeners right now.
Well,
Do
what I
you
did,
know what your interest rate is on your student loan the day that you signed it, and what your payment will be when you graduate? How many have ever calculated that?
no one. But I did make the panel where if anyone wants to join and ask a question, I figure this might be a good topic that somebody might have a question on or even want to delve deeper into, just to open up the conversation just in case.
Absolutely, I love it.
So
I
this,
love it.
if you want to just tap one of the boxes and we'll add you on. But yeah, most people do not do that. They don't look at most people when they go to buy a car, especially if their credit is not where it needs to be. They don't even care about the interest rate. So
Just the payment, and if I can get the car today. That's
if I'm going
basically
to
it.
get the approval, so that's not good. That's not good That's not good business.
Right,
It is definitely not good financial sense, right? Not smart
right,
money at all.
right. But
But
here's
yeah,
a
no,
question. I have a question for you. So look at the day. We come on every day and spend an hour to speak to the community as a community outreach and sharing information, right?
right.
But this production is not free to either one of us. We may perceive it to be, but guess what?
Hmm.
Everyone paid with their time today to listen to this recording live or this live, either live or recorded. They're going to invest their time to listen just as
Hmm.
much as we're investing our time to speak and to prepare this
Right.
particular platform to have a conversation. So nothing's free. There was an exchange.
There
We both
was.
exchanged our time. The question now becomes is how do you monetize the time that you spend together? The
Yeah, that's true
information that
too.
if I'm on the listening end attaining knowledge, then my next question would be how do I put this into practice to turn it into fruition?
Hmm. Hmm.
That may mean lock arms with the hosts of this show, or to take what I learned, the gems that I gather, and put them into practice right away.
Mm, this is true.
So
Now,
there's no such thing as free 99. We're both exchanging time
correct. Exactly. Now, Yapa said for her with college, it was like accomplish graduation by any
by
means
any means necessary.
necessary. So, does that what you're saying, Yapa? Are you saying that if you had to take out more student loans, is that what you mean? That's what you did, or
No,
um,
just finish the course. Just complete what you started. Your journey was freshman year. I'm going to get a graduate and get a degree in X. The goal
hmm,
is to complete what you started. That's how we've been ingrained
mm,
to always look at complete what you started.
okay? And she said no, she didn't look at the interest rate.
No one does. I'm speaking from experience. I know this. Now, fortunately for myself, I did not have any student loans. I was a student athlete, Division I athlete, so I had a full ride in college to get education and to play ball. So
Hmm.
I learned how to use my mind and my body to get a certain level of education. So
Right.
I didn't have that issue.
Hmm. This is okay. So, but for the most part, a lot of people don't have that privilege, right? So, and they don't have parents who can afford to just pay the 40, 50, $60,000 a year for them.
Hmm.
So, if they don't get um, academic scholarships, then they are going to get student loans to move forward.
Hmm.
And I guess
Hmm.
there's grants and things like that too. Um, but for the most part, they're going to have a lot of debt. And a lot of people I know just looking at credit reports are over $100,000 or more on student loan debt.
And that's undergrad. Then we're talking postgraduate degrees.
Hmm.
masters, law school, medical school, PT, any advanced studies, you're going to tack on another 125,000.
And you can't bankrupt it. You can't put it, you can't, so you can add anything else into bankruptcy, but you can't do your student loans. So, yes, it is something that you will pay for down the line, but at the same time, you can't get rid of it, right?
Correct.
So, unless you just leave this earth without ever paying it, that's the only
So,
way you'll ever get
so
rid of it.
let's relanguage this for a minute. Let's have a role play and kind of have some fun with the listeners. So,
Hmm.
suppose I offer this is an offer that I presented to you, that I have a great opportunity that I'd like you to devote 4 years of your time and $160,000 at 4% interest.
Hmm.
And at the end of that in time and monetary investment, I'm not going to guarantee you any income, but if you do make an income, it's $60,000. Who would take that deal?
Anybody want
Most people say that's
put
not
a
a good
heart in the
deal.
chat if you want to if you'll take that deal. Uh, oh my
You know
God.
that that becomes the problem, right? So you see how when
Yeah,
I just change it, but then people are rushing through the front door to do that every single day.
every day, every day. And it's, I mean, and it's a, there's honor in that, right? The parents are so excited when you get accepted to all of these universities, or you go on to higher education. But I don't know why, just even doing trades became a thing not to do, right? Because those professions do make great incomes, and not
Well,
every
yeah,
right,
yeah,
and a lot of
yeah.
them earn more than somebody getting that higher education, because
Well, here's
the
why.
objective is a job, right?
It's the same agenda today, right? People want to be rich and famous.
Yeah.
So having a title of, one of those traditional jobs, white collar jobs, if you will, it has a title, it has some prestige and status assembled to that. That's why that's called the rich and famous, the lifestyle of the rich and the famous. Whereas that blue collar worker wears
Hmm.
the uniform, got oil, grease, poop, muck, depending on what it is,
Hmm.
dust, and you don't look very pretty or handsome. You look very dirty
Hmm.
and gritty. And so that's not how people want to be seen. They want to be walking out the house, Brooks Brother down, wingtip shoes or red bottoms and nice
Yeah.
clothes and walking with the briefcase because they look good and feel good when they jumping in their whip to go to the job, or they're on a public transportation, however you travel to commute to work, that
Right.
makes them feel and look good. But
Mm.
Hip National Bank is in turmoil.
The pockets.
The pockets is in turmoil
It's so
because
true.
because because in that same agreement, you first had an agreement with the debtor, with the creditor when you took the student loan, and you got to pay interest when you graduate, and then you tie into someone else called your private partner called IRS,
Hmm.
because you are in a high income perspective or income bracket. Depending on your demographic, you're going to pay
Hmm.
upward to 40% in taxes of that gross number.
Yeah.
So let's look at that. Let's just say you lived in a major metropolitan city, California, New York, Washington, somewhere like that, and
Hmm.
you made $60,000. 40% of that is gone.
Mm.
24,000 of that is gone.
Yeah.
And now you have to live in a high cost area with the remaining while still paying a student debt.
And still being taxed on everything else you do,
Right? And so these
buying
are these
clothes,
are the
everything.
issue. And so these are the issues that are plaguing our college graduates. Now, again, I'm going to just give the disclaimer. We're here. I'm an advocate for education. I really am. But I
Yeah.
believe in specialized education. I
Hmm.
think as we evolve
Hmm.
in society, more and
Hmm.
more of the universities I have found now are doing more executive certificate programs as opposed to 4 year degrees,
Mm.
because they realize now that the marketplace is changing.
It's great. It's changing a huge amount. I noticed when during the pandemic, and
Mhm.
a lot of employers were now stating what they were once asking for people to have master's degrees on. They was like, oh well, if you just have a high school diploma. You can still come in and still earn that amount of money. But what that really showed me and told me was that this was all a farce in many instances. You're asking for people before all of this, and when you before you needed employees. Before now, you need to have all of these credentials. Now you don't need it, and we're going to train you to do it. You were going to train them to do it anyway. So
Let's, yes,
it's
that's
just
true.
crazy
They're
to
going to
me.
train you in, but let's look at it from an income perspective. In the Southeast, again, I'm not
Hmm.
giving financial, tax, or accounting advice. This is for education, entertainment purposes. But let's assume six figures living in the Southeast,
Uh huh.
you can live a lot better than in the Northeast in a high cost market
Correct. In
because the
certain parts of the
quality,
southeast,
yeah,
right?
in certain parts, because the quality of life is cheaper. Housing and food. The true cost of inflation, family, is the consumer price index, not the advertised inflational rate that the government posts or that you see on CNBC. You're talking about the real consumer effect. It's called the consumer price index. And right
Hmm.
now that's hovering between 11 and 12%. So if you're not earning 12% more on your money at your job or getting a 12% raise annually, you're not keeping up with the cost of goods,
Cost of
consumable goods.
inflation.
And this is why you realize from the pandemic, and I use the word pandemic, that the cost of eggs, a dozen of eggs went from one price to the other.
Yeah, it's like $20 at one point.
And you could have been on a six-figure job but only got a 2% raise, but the increase of eggs went up 20%.
Yeah.
You can't buy the same amount of dozen of eggs that you used to buy last year with the same income.
No, not at
And this
all.
is the problem. And this becomes the problem.
Now, when you say the southeast, the reason I said some parts of the southeast, so how does a place like Atlanta get away with charging the rates that they get to pay? Is it because people are paying it?
Well,
Because they're paying like New York, they're charging
okay,
like
so
New
you
York
said
prices.
Atlanta, you didn't say the state of Georgia, so that's a difference.
Well, yeah,
When you look at per
yeah,
capita, the state of Georgia's housing market is a lot less expensive than the New York City market.
correct.
You're looking at the metropolitan city of Atlanta,
Hmm.
but you have outskirts, you have other places, Lawrenceville and all these other places, Estonia, all these different places that are a lot less expensive than
Hmm.
living in a metropolitan city like that.
Been living, okay. But I've looked at some of those areas like Lawrenceville and stuff too. They have increased greatly as well. Um, I'm not sure. People are willing to pay it. That's what I am consider. I'm assuming it's just like groceries, right? When the price gouging happened during the pandemic, um, we as consumers still paid those prices, so they would not go back to reverting them to where they were once upon a time. They're not going to do that. So it's the same thing when it comes to the housing market, where your rent might have gone up maybe $50 or $100 at the time of your lease at any given city or state. Now they can get away with it going up three, four, $500, and that's not fair. It's
But
like,
then look at the market, right? This is specifically to Atlanta. You're having a hell of a lot more transplants from the Northeast moving
yeah,
down. And so they come from the Northeast with the eye and the valuation of the Northeast. And so when they see these homes are 100,000, almost 2,000 cheaper than that, this is why
yep,
they come down there and don't have a problem overpaying
yep,
for homes there, whereas the locals who know the market will be like, "You crazy? I'm not spending that kind of money for that house." But someone on
right.
the outside who's coming in from their perspective, they're getting a good deal. The same
But
applies in
still,
Florida. A lot of the snow bunnies come to go to Florida and these places and Texas and and they see these massive homes that you get a lot more
hmm,
acreage and square footage for the dollar per square foot than they would up north, and they tend to overpay, outpricing the locals.
this is true. Because I know I was talking to someone in Texas the other day, and she said that the people from California are moving there in great numbers in Texas. And of course, they'll sell their house in California, come there and buy two or three houses.
Hmm.
Um,
And don't mind overpaying because they're still
yeah,
getting a deal
yeah,
from their perspective.
Correct. Exactly. So yeah, that definitely makes sense. But yeah, and in regards to the back to even the entitlement phase of it all, what have how many do you often get people who come to you and ask you to you know, just do you the solid to teach them what you know
It
without
it happens all the time, and my
mhm
favorite question is, well, with the multitude of individuals that seek to get access to mentorship or coaching from me, what would make you a great candidate that I would
mm,
choose you over the other 100 applicants?
right, right.
I would like to know that question. So that lets me know where their heart and mind is and what their true why and purpose is, right?
Mm,
And then we decide on what their gap is, because in life everything is about what your current reality is and what your desired reality is, and based upon those two things there's a gap, and that's my job, is to help you create a plan, right, a process and a pathway to close that gap.
mhm.
But only you, that person, can tell me the value of closing that gap. That's
This
why
is true.
in my journey I don't have a price list.
Right.
There's no cost price, no. It's based on what you place value on in your life. And who am I to even tell you what your
This
problem's
is
value
true.
should be? My job is to help you actualize it and help you realize it. That's about it.
Hmm.
But I can't do the work. See, but I can't put the reps in. Like as an athlete, I'd go to the gym. I had a wit. I had a weight, a strength trainer. Had a
Right.
shooting coach, a dribbling coach. So when I went into the gym, they can teach you the form, but they can't put the reps in. They're not going to run the suicides for you. They're not going to
Right.
go in and you're going to rep out to 225 on the bench press. They're not doing. They're going to show you the technique and what the
Mhm.
weight cycles and sets should be, but you have to get on that bench and you have to bench press that two and a quarter, or you
This
have
is
to
true.
run those suicides, or you got to shoot those 1,000 free throws, or 1,000 3 pointers. That you can't get away from that.
This is true.
So coming back to success is based on that. A person would have to be, are you willing to put the work in?
Mm.
Because you could cast your pearls to swine. A person may see, you may accept them, but they're not willing to do the work.
This is true.
So
This is
then you're
true.
wasting your time and your talent.
Exactly. And that's the because people will actually pay for stuff and still not do it, right? How many people have purchased all of these courses that people are
Well,
pitching online and they still don't do the work?
I say to that,
Hmm.
people, I find, this is my opinion in my research, that I find the more a person contributes in terms of cost payment
Yeah,
is the higher the level of activity.
correct. I
So
can
if it
agree with
doesn't
that.
stretch you, it won't grow. You won't grow.
You won't grow.
So people can make a convenient investment, but they're not going to make an investment that's going to challenge them.
Mm. This is
See,
true.
so if you want an extraordinary breakthrough, your seed needs to be extraordinary, because you have to match energy with energy.
This is true. And people,
People want an abundance breakthrough with a scarcity seed. That doesn't make any sense,
this is true. They want that dollar and a dream.
right? Because every seed or thought that you have has a DNA that needs to be inscribed on it. So if you're putting on that seed that you're in lack and you're doing it begrudgingly, but
Hmm.
yet you want a fruitful harvest, that seed's going to take on the DNA of lack. It may not
Exactly.
even survive the cultivative period because it was so insufficient. And again,
Mm.
this is metaphysical things that we're talking about here. You're going to learn that in the community, because it all comes back down to that. You have to understand how to set the intention.
This is true. This is so, so true. But yeah, I wanted to even just delve into people when they come to the community, what can they expect as a new person, let's say? What can they expect if they decide to lock arms with the TPF?
Well, the first thing I always say, and I've said it to you too, the things that you're about to learn is going to piss you off before it sets you free.
Hmm.
Because I'm going to challenge, or the community, we're going to challenge you in your current belief system.
Hmm.
We have to rock your old foundation and help you reset your prosperity thermostat.
Mm,
And that means we're going to challenge some of your common beliefs. We're not here to break you in your faith and your religion. It has nothing to do with any of that. But there are some universal principles that govern this earth that are
this is true.
infallible. And until you and when you come into those principles,
Hmm.
you're going to be challenged. Because everything that you thought granny give you, big mom, big mama, mommy, friend, uncle taught you may not have been truth, even though you grew up believing it to be so.
It was truth on in their perspective because it again it's information that has been regurgitated for uh, generation to generation, right? So and we just took hold of that and ran with that. But at some point, I think this current generation is really the one that is kind of like, yeah, this what you're really saying, my doesn't and dad, that doesn't make any sense to me, because they're seeing people that they love go out and toil each and every day, um, and not really reaping the reward that I was sold,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And that's the operative word, sold. You were
Yeah.
sold. The miseducation.
Hmm.
Woodrow Wood's favorite, his book was Miseducation of the Negro.
Yep. 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 Exactly. That's it.
Listen, miseducation is a big business.
It is. Oh
And
my God.
sometimes they will position people who sound and look like you to give you either disinformation or misinformation.
Yeah.
On intentionally. In the exchange for them doing that is they get a pass to get paid, but then they keep the masses in a box.
Exactly. The the
That's the art of war. That's the art of war.
yeah, they and it looks good, it sounds good, it feels
Makes you
good,
feel good too. It actually makes you feel
yeah,
good as well. Yeah.
and all of that, and you're buying into, and of course that's where that whole thing comes when people are showing their lifestyle on camera that they rented for the day in many instances, but because it looks good and you're like, wow, they did all of that. They can show me how to do it too. But you never see Warren Buffett walking you through his home. You'll never see Bezos work walking you through his home. Zuckerberg will never walk you through his home. Like people who have money are not, even the Musk guy, he's not going to walk you through his home and show you what he has.
Why
But
do
the
you
people,
think they? Yeah, you're right. Why would they never a show called, the Wealthy Cribs?
right, right. It
The
was
MTV
even
Cribs
or in rich lifestyles of the rich and famous.
by Robin Leach. Robin
Yeah,
Leach. Remember that?
I
Lifestyle, the
used to
rich
watch
and
that
the
all the time.
famous. Exactly.
Yep, I used to watch it all the time. I was like, that's gonna be me. So, but when you think about it, no one does that. Like when you even think about the rappers when they first came out, they had the big jewelry and they have this and they have that. But Jay Z's a billionaire. He's not doing that now,
Well, look at that
right?
for a minute, right? See, we get caught up in those are entertainers. The
Hmm.
lifestyle of the rich and famous, they're famous most of the time because they are entertainers.
Correct.
Actors, comedians, sports athletes, right?
Hmm.
Those are entertainers. The entertainers, let you guys know. Now this is game. I'm gonna give you up a game now. It's called the art of persuasion. So most of the jewelry that they wear is given to them by the designers of the jewelry for that they can be a walking billboard, clothing alike. They are paid
Hmm.
to wear those things
Yep.
to get the natural consumer to purchase them.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the natural consumer is not an entertainer,
Yep.
and they try to get that lifestyle, but you're not an entertainer.
You're not an entertainer.
And so that's a uniform. Every profession has a uniform. If
Yep.
you're a baseball player, you have a specific uniform. If you're a football player, you have a specific uniform. If you're in the medical practice or profession, you have a uniform. There's some who wear the white coats. Those are most of the time the doctors. Then there's those who wear green scrubs or blue scrubs. They all have designated and coordinated colors to
Correct.
determine what aspect of the profession you are in. The
Hmm.
military, depending on the branch of service, you have a uniform.
Hmm.
So wealth
I
has a
agree.
uniform too, and it's called privacy.
Exactly. Exactly. But
It's called privacy.
when you just mentioned that whole thing where people will pay the entertainers to show you this lifestyle, and now you're seeing this lifestyle and you want this lifestyle, and you feel like so a lot of people will do get work to get that lifestyle by any means necessary, right?
So let's
Um,
go there. Let's go there for a minute. Hold on. Let's pause
mhm,
right there. You got a great point. I just want to stick to your point.
mhm,
You pay an entertainer to share with you the entertainment, but they're
mhm.
not telling you how to become the entertainer.
Correct.
When's
They're
the
not
last
showing.
rapper told you how to get a record deal?
No, well,
When's the last
they haven't.
actor told you how to act?
Exactly. Exactly.
Does
Now,
that make sense?
if you make it to that level, they will then, because I've heard actors say that once they got in a room, say with a Will Smith, they gave them this knowledge or this information. But you're not going to run into a Will Smith on the street and he's going to stop and have a conversation with you on how to make it, right? He's not going
Correct.
to do that. But if you're in his proximity and you've gotten your foot in the door some kind of way, and he sees something in you, then he'll give you some more of the game. You
Mm-hmm.
know, not gonna give you all the game, but he'll give you some more of the game at that particular point in time. But a lot of times, speaking on entitlement, people feel like if she can have it or he can
So can
have it,
I.
I should be able to have it too. And I'm going to go down this path because when you think about entertainers who have uh, fix their bodies, let's say, like the Kim Kardashians and all of that stuff, where regular people who work regular jobs are now butchering their bodies to get the same BBLs,
Ay, ay, ay.
chinless, faceless, because they figure if she can have it, I should be able to have it too. She can afford to have it. She's on red carpets,
Well,
and you may just be
well,
working
well.
at Target.
There's a difference. She has to maintain a certain image for the brands
Right,
that she represents. Like for
right.
couture, for those of you who are into fashion, right? I love fashion.
Mm-hmm.
Couture. Anybody who knows what couture is, couture only goes up to a size 4
Mm-hmm.
for women.
Yeah.
So if you don't fit in that specification, they don't have clothes ready made
They
for
don't
you,
have to. Correct. And
or you're
most
not
women
considered
don't.
a prime model for that.
And most women don't. Especially if you have a natural curvy body or you have purchased one, that's not going to be the fit that they're not making clothes for you, right? And but just the mindset that people have, and I think it's the media because they have put it in our faces for so long. And it started with the rap videos, to be honest with you. It started there where you see the when you see how things have evolved to current day. It's like everywhere you go, like everybody got a big booty now. Like
Well, now hold on. See, when I grew up, you know, in my culture, that was a no, that was a
that's
basic
a
stable
norm.
seeing women who were full figured and voluptuous, right? That was homegrown.
That was homegrown. That was the the rice and peas and those types of things that come with all of that.
That curry
But
chicken, macaroni pie, all
macaroni,
those good things. You got to see that
exactly.
natural.
You know I'm a Geechee, so it's always
Oh,
rice for me.
oh my God, you and this rice, you and this rice, rice and gravy.
Yeah, rice and
Ay,
gravy. I
ay,
love me
ay.
some rice and gravy. But the thing is that now because it's so blown out of proportion, and it seems like I mean, women have literally they're unrecognizable in the face, even like who like I just saw like Nene Leakes the other day. I said between the filter, the facelift, and the makeup, that's a lot going on. That
It's a
she
lot.
and this is just her new look that she is showing. And I'm like, this woman is over 50 years old. But at some point, we have to take a step back and
But
stop
she is an
chasing.
entertainer. She's in front of the camera a
She's an
lot.
entertainer, but you're you're butchering your face. At some point, you start loving yourself. You don't have to keep going, keep doing things to yourself. I mean, people were literally willing to die for BBLs, going in
Well,
back alleys to get that because they couldn't go to the plastic surgeon to get it.
but just to let you know, in the wealth circles, right, we're more focused on longevity health. Just to let you know, we put you in a little bit of the insight. We focus more on the longevity, the rejuvenational,
Hmm.
alternative medicine lifestyles because wealthy and poor people still die at the same mortality rate. There's
This is
only a
true.
difference of 6 months in terms of elongated life. And so most
Hmm.
people work their whole lives to get a few dollars to that when they reach their golden ages, they take all the money that they've accumulated to try to buy back their health. Whereas
Mm.
wealth conscious minded knows that part of prosperity is good health because
True.
your wealth is your ultimate wealth. I mean, your health is your
Your health.
ultimate wealth. And so
Hmm.
we focus a lot on how to elongate our lives. That's why time is important to us, why we went into business to have more freedom and time to
Mm.
live life longer without stress with those we care about as opposed to chasing the bag.
Yeah. 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 You do all the hard work in the early years so that in your latter years you can enjoy your life. You can, focus on your health, spend time with your family. Or if you like we were talking about yesterday, if you're going to build a business, you should build a family business so that you are able to spend time with your family instead of always being away from them, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So if you're looking to go that route on starting a business, it should be something that the whole family can participate in.
Absolutely. Think
Um,
about that old in the old days, right? Sure, they can be two parent households. So daddy or pop can be in the household but not present because
right.
daddy's always working.
Yeah, you never see him. Maybe on the weekend.
You see a
Right.
shadow. You see a shadow and a glimpse when leaving the AM and coming in the night.
Yeah. Yeah. And then when he comes in, he needs time to decompress, right?
Correct.
So he might go in a room or go outside in the yard or something that's to take a load off. And mom is like, well, dad needs some time. By the time dad has time, he's ready for him to go to bed. So it's but that happens a lot. Like we were talking about entertainers or athletes on how much time they have dedicated, not just with their time and their bodies, but away from their families building this legacy. There's
Yeah,
no time
yeah,
spent.
yeah, yeah. I mean, listen to that. That was what LeBron and Bronny had that conversation. Imagine LeBron has been in the league. This is his 22nd year in the league.
Hmm.
And as a professional athlete, in those prior 21 years, you're looking at least 11, he missed 11 Christmases, 11 Thanksgivings that he couldn't spend with his kids because he's probably on the road. You have a certain amount of home games on holidays and a certain amount of away games on holidays. And so
Right.
in his career, you know, 21 years, he missed some birthdays. He missed some Christmases. He missed some Thanksgiving. Even though he can
Hmm.
give them the life that most people could never imagine,
Hmm.
you can't get back the time. And that's what Bronny has said. The greatest thing is he missed a lot. His father missed a lot of his development as a basketball player because he couldn't be around to teach him because he was too busy in his own craft. But now
Correct.
they finally get to go to work together
Hmm.
on a craft that they both now learned.
And one
And
would think
so,
that because it is his father, that he's spent mostly all the time getting him there, right? That's what one would think.
yeah, but
But yeah.
a lifestyle of an NBA professional is grueling in the
Hmm.
season. And then you're
Yeah,
talking about off season, he's got other obligations because he has endorsements.
that's true.
He's the face of many brands, so you're always working. I mean, case in point, look at another case in point. Look at Steve Harvey,
Yeah,
hardworking man, 67 years old, and he still has what,
I'm
four
still
jobs, five jobs.
grinding.
Strawberry Letters, Family Feud. I
Hmm.
mean, granted, your net worth is 300 million, whatever it is, but think about look at the time requirement
Yeah,
involved in trying to get to that point. And if you look
yeah.
at life expectancy is 78, at what point you're gonna say, bro, I got enough millions I need to stop working so hard. I don't need to. I got enough money that four, five, six generations would never go broke. Why am I still doing this?
This is so true.
And play with the grandbabies or the
So
great
true.
grandbabies. I'm just saying. So these are some of the things that we have to look at. But
Mm-hmm.
the elitists, those I've been studying and being mentored by, they want more time. They focus on their
Yeah.
family and their legacies.
Time freedom is most important. Out of time, location, and money freedom, I think time is one, money
Correct.
is second, and location is third.
Correct.
You right? So that is because yeah, when you own your time, like when you're at a job, you can't say I'm taking off today. You have to call in and let them know you're taking off, or
Correct.
you have a set time to go and take your lunch, or you have it's just craziness to me. But or you want to go on vacation, you got to let them know. You got to put in, and then it has to be approved for your paid time off and things of that nature. Um, yeah, it's craziness, right? But that's that's the way the world has been shaped. I wonder if it's ever going to change in some aspects, especially with so many people now working from home. Um, if the whole corporate structure is going to change, I think they were looking at making it a 40-hour, 4-day week or something like that.
Right.
So people could have at least 3 days, because to work 5 days and just have pretty much a day to yourself. Because Sunday you're getting ready for the week again, right?
Correct.
It's craziness, and I got tired of that early. I was like, this can't be life.
He said, "This can't be life."
This can't be life. Them days I would sit in traffic trying to get and rush to work and things of that nature. I'm like, I learned then I was allergic to traffic. It's like I would get so angry when I'm stuck in
But
traffic. My
but if
anger
you say
levels
that
kick
if
up.
you say that from a social media perspective, you don't like traffic. Oh,
I
man,
don't
you
like
don't have no
it.
visible. You have no visitors.
Well, that part, right? But yeah, just it's just little things like that. Bosses um, irritate me. Being micromanaged, or they would call you in the office, and if something didn't go a certain way, they would want you to sign something, and as a warning. I'm like, how many?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think I quit a job once for that too. Um, I was like a professional quitter when it came to jobs. I never had. Well, the thing is, I never had a problem getting a job, and
Gotcha.
everybody would always say that to me. They're like, every time she go on an interview, she get the job. But then I get them, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to do this. But
Are you there?
I'm here. Okay. But I would say I don't want to do this kind of thing. But
Okay, you faded out.
can you hear? Really? I'm just sitting still. But in talking
Oh, I
about the
heard. Okay.
entitlement, I'm going to get my other headset. In talking about entitlement, what do you believe that people should be doing when they are desiring to go and grow to the next level? Um, and they need guidance to get there.
Like I said previously in our previous lives, that you need to get around people who are like-minded, who are progressive, who are making extraordinary moves, not normal, because being normal is not going to get you too far. You got to start to become, you got to become abnormal to the norm, and start getting around people who think out the box. Because if you ever thought about this, instructions are always on the outside of a box anyway, right?
Yeah, this is
If you
true.
think about that, so you got to start thinking out the box, stop being around the social norms, and dare to travel the road that most the least to travel or pursue,
Yeah,
and get into those rooms and add value. Show if you don't have money, offer time.
yeah. Or right, offer time. What talent do you bring that you can offer someone, right?
If absence of money is the case,
Is that
yes.
correct? Correct. Like bartering is something I never thought of before, even with my business, right?
Right.
So as we know, I have my platinum locks, right? And my client is now my hairstylist. So we barter.
Mm.
I do what she needs to get done, and I get my hair done when I need to get it done.
You know, you don't say it like that. You say, "I get my hair did."
Get my hair
You
did,
know,
but
all your Southerners there in that regard. You know,
but it's a fair exchange
right,
actually,
right,
and
of course.
what her fee is probably like a $20 difference. I don't even worry about it, right? But
Mm-hmm.
it's because I'm getting done what I need done, and she's getting done what she needs done. So that's us exchanging our talents to one another. So that's like an example that I never ever thought about
Got it.
until this started happening. But there are other things that you could possibly offer someone, or someone can offer you in exchange for, you getting the result, or the whatever it is you need accomplished, right? And if you have something, or we have something, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
someone has something that you need, maybe the lifestyle that they have or whatever, maybe having a conversation with them might pique their interest, right? And they
Absolutely.
may be willing to say, you know what, for an hour a week, I'll commit to doing this for you in exchange for you doing this for me. So you just, never know. You never know. But at the same time, when it comes to people who are so willing to pay so much for things that will not advance their lives in any way, all right? Will not, I mean, you buying new clothes or new jewelry, um, crazy six-figure cars to impress people, when your bank account is not doing what you need it to do, and you really need to be putting that money in places and spaces that's going to actually grow and continuously grow, and then you can buy those luxuries in life that you really desire without worrying about how you're going to pay for them. If those are the things that you're looking to accomplish in your life, then you have to start redirecting your money in places that's going to get you there, and that will and should include a mentor to get you there.
Absolutely.
Because
Without a doubt.
as Al often says, even as somebody who's an athlete and knows the rules of sports and doing all those things that you do, you still had a coach. You still had a mentor to help you even in that lane. And LeBron James still has a coach, right? And no matter
Absolutely.
how far up he's gone, he still has a coach. So, and people don't see themselves in life like that. Like, I think, I wonder why that, oops, sorry, somebody was calling. I'm always trying to understand how people think when it comes to mentoring and coaching. um, what are they really thinking is the benefit? Do they see the benefit of having those things in their lives? And when do they think they should gain a mentor or a coach? When do you think they should gain a mentor or a coach? Should it be in their 20s? Should it be in college? Should it be right out of college? When do you think they should gain access or start seeking that? Or would
High
they
school. I think high
in high
school.
school? Yeah, well, they can't afford. Well, they can have there's different levels, right? You can start off with a coach, and
That's
then
correct.
and
Yep.
then go and then upgrade to the as your levels of income, or your desired levels of income or status increase, then you start finding those people that meet those standards that you're looking for, and keep elevating from that point on. So yeah, you can definitely do that too. But yeah, what do you have to say about all that?
Just say the earlier the better.
The earlier the better to get a coach. And
No, I would just say that's it. I mean, I have
what
my mentor from
questions?
earlier.
What questions should they be asking a
Well,
person?
I would think they should.
Your phone is muted, Al. Nothing. We lost him. Oh, his phone. No, his phone didn't ring.
I don't know. I didn't realize that. I'm sorry. I
Okay,
apologize.
no problem.
Yeah, so I would think you have to first know what you want to do in life and then find a person who's done it already, and then that's the end of it. I do apologize too. I'm in my office and they're doing work. So,
Oh, no problem.
yeah, that's another thing too.
No, just asking what are the top three questions when you're looking for a mentor or coach, if you can't get to a mentor right away? What are the top three questions you should be possibly asking to make
Well,
sure you're in
well,
alignment with one another?
well, it comes back to what do you want to do? What are you trying to accomplish in life? And then you look for people who've done that. That's the very first thing. And then
Mm-hmm.
after you've identified those people, you find out if they have an apprentice program or a mentorship program or a summer intern or something of that nature, and then start from there.
Okay, I like that. All right, so in this whole conversation, it was really just meant to kind of highlight how some people will feel entitled to gain access to proximity or information from people who have made it to a level of status in their lives. And because people have made it to that status, especially if you're related to these people or you just know them as friends, they may feel entitled that you should, because you've gotten there, you should just be pouring into them on a regular basis for free, right? And it's not that you're not going to pour into them at all. Um, but at the same time, I can't give you the entire game or give you everything that's inside of me to help you get to a point in life when you have not um, paid the fee, right? So I will find that some people will like to call me and have long conversations with me. Um, but sometimes I have to let them know I'll give you all the information that you need once this invoice is paid. Because the information you're asking for and the guidance that you're asking for is a lot. And I can't just give it to you for free just because I've known you for 5 years. That's like, you know what I'm saying? That's not going to happen. Uh, and but you'll want to sit on the phone for 2 and 3 hours, like picking my brain. And I've noticed, and I had, at once upon a time, I used to allow that, but then I had to fall back and stop doing that because it was unfair to me at the end of the day. You're asking for information, you're asking me to show you how to do certain things, or even give you access to systems that I have when you haven't, but you want it for free. That's the whole thing. And like I said, that lady in that interview said, even with family and friends, she said, if I don't charge you, that means I don't love you, right? I charge you because I love you,
Because of that energy, you're giving them energy and illuminate. Yeah.
right? So yeah, so like Al said, just find those people that you want to align yourself with, lock arms with, learn from, who are willing to pour into you, and come up with a plan where they can actually mentor you to the level in which you're trying to get to. And once you get, if you outgrow that level, it's okay to seek out a new mentor. If you're trying to grow to another level, it's okay, right?
Agreed, 1,000%.
So, what are your closing thoughts and comments, Mister?
Closing thoughts. Closing thoughts. I think that again, the sooner you get around people who are trying to do things that you want to do, the better it'll be.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Okay.
that's the best thing I could say at this point is you have to really know where you want to go,
Yeah, and where
and
you
then
want to
find
grow
the
to.
people, and then find the people who can help you get there.
Yeah, and it's also good to make sure you find someone who can help you tell your story. I guess, right?
Your authentic story, yeah,
Yeah,
your story, yeah.
right. Because a lot of people don't like, they'll come, like we talked about yesterday. They'll come asking for funding, but they don't know how to properly articulate exactly what they're looking for without it being some long drawn out scenario story. Like, we don't need a thesis on your business plan. We need to know who you are, what you do, and how we're going to get repaid. So that's how that story should go, but it should go in a way that makes sense, right?
Right, of course, of course. But here's the thing for me: at a stage in my life, I'm working with individuals who are either existing entrepreneurs or inspiring entrepreneurs.
Aspiring.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So that's where I'm at.
All right, I got you. So, for anyone who wants to have a conversation, it's really simple. Of course, we are doing this on TikTok Live. In my bio, you can click there and you'll see where you can schedule a strategy session, which is really a discovery call or an adult conversation where we pretty much go over who you are, what your goals are, and put a clear plan, process, and pathway in place
In place. I love it. I love
for
it.
you to get there. If you're listening to this, say on YouTube, the replay, then all you have to do is go to creditladygems.com. And gems is GEMS. So creditladygems.com and click there. Or you can go to Pink Power CEO and also schedule pinkpowerceo.com. Sorry. And schedule a strategy session from there. When you complete the form, it's going to take you to a questionnaire. And most of the people that I deal with are also business owners or entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs who want to start businesses or figure out how to begin that that entrepreneurial life. So that's what that questionnaire is going to be asking about when you go to pinkpowerceo.com. So we can help you gauge the right process on getting there. Um, so we want to thank you so much for your time. Thank you, Yapa, for helping out in the chat as always. We truly do appreciate you. And we'll be back tomorrow. I hope this was a great conversation where it helps enlighten you, and because that's our focus and our purpose for doing these conversations. Again, if you want to get to a certain level in life, then you have to be willing to invest in yourself. However, that investment looks like time, talent, or treasure. That's
Ooh, I
the
like that.
process.
Time, talent, treasure. I like that. The three T's.
Exactly. Exactly. So, again, Al, thank you so much. And we'll talk soon.
Absolutely. I would love to just say that again. I appreciate being here and sharing this information
Hmm.
with individuals who are seeking guidance in this area.
Yes.
But we also want to, we can only help those who really know where they want to go. And I just want to close and say, before you even begin to seek a coach or mentor, really sit down and really think about where you'd like to end up. What direction
Mm,
are you going? Because once your intention is set, you'll attract the right people into your space.
mm,
That's how the Most High works.
yeah.
When you get intentional and you know with clarity what you want, the right people, circumstances, opportunities will present itself.
They always say God is a God of clarity, not confusion.
So attract. So you have to attract that person into your life, not pursue, because whatever you pursue runs
Yes,
away from you.
this is
And
true.
so until you know where you want to be and where you want to go, will that person appear? Like for those of you who are on this live right now, you're not here by chance.
Mm-hmm.
You're here for a specific purpose and specific reason. Otherwise, you could be doing a lot of other things that would be more fitting for you at this moment.
Right,
So this
right.
is not by chance, it's by choice and by design. So the
Correct.
question now is, as you come and you approach this, do we resonate with each other?
Mm-hmm.
Is there a vibe? Is there a harmonic relationship that is being established? And if you feel that internally, then that may require you to make an external action if it aligns with you internally. So I'm going to ask you guys as you listen to our broadcast, our lives, if it's resonating with you and you're getting a point where you're feeling a discernment in which you feel gravitating toward what we're doing and want to be a part of and lock arms to do that, I'm going to say this: take massive action.
Yeah. Action takers.
Hmm.
Action takers. That's the key because those who sit on the sidelines will, again, like I often say on here, people from 2020 are still fighting for their financial lives, right? Every year you set these resolutions, which I call making a promise to yourself. That's what a resolution is to me. And I often feel if you can't keep a promise to yourself, you can't keep a promise to anyone. So if you have these goals in life, that you really want and desire to have, then what are you going to do? At some point, you have to say, I have to choose me. In order for me to help everyone else in my family, I have to choose me. And I have to start doing something different because what I've been doing over the past 5, 10, 15 years, I'm still in the same place, or maybe just a little bit further along with a 5% increase in my raise, my income. Like
Right,
you
right,
right.
right.
So you that's not it. Right? One vacation a year is not it.
Live your life, not the life of others, right? If you don't
Yeah.
choose your life, someone will choose it for you.
That is so true.
And stop trying to live vicariously through someone else's life.
Right.
Stop trying to
So
be like Mike. Be you.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's it right there. And that way you can, because a lot of us spend these time. You know what? I'm gonna say this. A lot of times, for a while, I had got caught up in watching people on these stupid apps just cleaning up. And those videos, and I don't know why it was so refreshing to just watch people clean and how wonderfully how wonderful their homes looked and how organized it was. And I would look up, and it's like an hour or two later. I'm like, I am watching videos on people cleaning their house. But this is what's happening. The distractions that are in front of us, and we get caught up in just crazy things in our lives when we should be focused on building our own life instead of watching other people, like Al just said, live their life. Because those videos are making people a lot of money, and they're not even talking.
I never understood watching reality TV.
Hey, hey.
I'm watching people who are being paid how much thousands of dollars per episode, but how much are you
Yeah.
earning watching that episode?
Exactly.
I'm just saying.
It's true. It's so true. And but when you start to really think about it, it's like I have just wasted so much time, and Yapa said her too with those cleaning videos. It's this one lady, this her name is Nikki something. I just get fascinated every time her video comes on because I'm like, this lady is so neat. I wish I need my house to look like that. I want a house like that. But then it's like, girl, go get the house if that's what you want. That's what she did.
That's
You
it.
know, that's what you have to do. If you want it, go get it. Because with God, there is no lack. There is no scarcity at all. This everything there's we can all live an abundant life if we just put our mind to it,
And
and do the
tap into
work to.
those principles and be in submission and be under the covenant and the will of, and you shall have it all.
Yeah, it's not impossible. I'm what you say? I'm possible, right?
You go
So
from impossible to I'm possible.
yeah,
That's a
yeah.
transformation.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm excited about those who will start to raise their hand and reach out. I do get questionnaires coming through often, so I appreciate that. I have to follow up on some today. Um, and yeah, just looking
But you know what's
forward.
funny though? I find that so many people procrastination
It's the thief of
kill,
time.
kills a lot of nations because people often put off what they could do today and think that tomorrow is promised to them, and it's really not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Life is not promised to us tomorrow, so why not live life to the fullest and investigate the fullness of life in the moment that you're in right now?
Yeah.
Every
And
day when I rise, it's a new scoreboard. It's 0-0. I don't live on
exactly.
yesterday's wins or last year's profits.
Mm.
Each day I have to create more than I consume.
Yes.
And if I didn't do it today, then I didn't accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
I live each day.
And count your and be willing to count even your small wins, right?
That's the
So
key. Well,
that's the
that's the
key.
key to success.
Yeah.
Most people fail because they make those big, hairy, audacious goals that are set up for them not to attain, and
Yeah.
then they figure it just doesn't work. Let me try something else.
Yeah.
Create small wins. If you're a baseball player, just get the base hit. Get on first base. Don't try to hit a home run, hit a
Yeah.
double. Just get on base.
That
Chip
was
away.
that was
Precept to precept.
that was what my manager at when I did mortgages years ago. That was his analogy. He said, "You're gonna get your little singles, you're gonna get your doubles, you're gonna get your triples, but every once in a while you'll get a home run. But just keep focusing on the singles and the doubles, and then you'll eventually get those home runs too." And that's how it worked for me. I was number one in my mortgage office and number three in my region. but it was, I focused on just, just doing it.
So what'd you
And
do? Put your head down and make those phone calls, right?
yeah, my brother used to say, put your head down and do the, he said a whole lot of other stuff, but just put your head down and do the
Get them
work.
Negroes and do your work.
He tell me
Ay, ay,
seriously.
ay.
He tell me f them people around you. Do what you got to do. Put your head down. Make those calls. Get those apps and and close those deals. And that's
Yeah.
what I did. It took me 3 months to get there, to the level I wanted to get to. But yeah, I was kicking their butt after that. Couldn't tell me nothing.
And in the community, we say, do the math. Math is an
Yeah.
acronym. Manifest at the highest. But you have to work in reverse. You need to know your destination, to know the plan of the process and the pathway to get there.
Mm-hmm. And my at that time my goal was 5 figures a month, and once I hit that, I was like, "Oh, I got this."
I got this. Wait. And then next you go from 5 figures a month to 5 figures a week.
Come on now.
Then 5 figures a week to 5 figures a day. And when you
That's
really
it
want to
right
get to
there.
that point, 5 figures an hour
Ooh, man,
to five
listen.
figures a minute.
Yeah,
Do you know how
is it?
They said Jeff Bezos earns, I think it's a million, it's like $20 million an hour.
What? But you also said he only owns a certain percentage
Less than 10%, less than 10% of Amazon.
of his business, and
Hmm.
so owning less than 10% and still being able to amass that number is
Well,
crazy, because
well,
we've all should have seen how he began his business. It was like some little room with Amazon written on some wall or something.
but he had a vision, but he had a vision.
But he had a vision. He had a vision and he stuck to it. He stuck to it. I mean,
Well,
he did all that, and his wife got like half his net worth or something, right? And he still gets that kind of money. His
hmm
ex-wife, right?
his
So,
ex-wife, yes.
but he did it. He doesn't create anything. That's the crazy part. Like, he sells other people's stuff.
No
That's
manufacturing, none of that stuff. Makes
nothing. It's just
billions of dollars. But he
it's
solved the problem. He
he said,
solved the
"Yep,
problem that a lot of people had, and that's distribution.
yeah, exactly." So it's just like, just this is like the part of the whole process. What is it that you're looking to gain? What is it? Write it down. Make it make sense. Create your to-do list for the day. Check your things off that you do accomplish. Because trust me, if I do something that was not on my to-do list, I write it on my to-do list because I did it. Because it was a part of my day, and maybe I forgot to add it. But you have to start making your to-do list, and like be Santa
So there should
Claus.
be a to-do list and a done list.
A done
So
list.
you have to understand transformation must move from one place to the other. So it moved from the to-do to the done.
Yep. Exactly. And that's how you'll be like, okay, I had 10 things on my list. I was only able to get to six, but at least I got to the six. And you
Well,
move
that,
those other
yes,
four over to
yeah.
tomorrow.
But then
That's
that means your performance is 60%
correct.
if you did
Correct.
6 out of 10.
Yeah.
So you can even gauge your, from a KPI, key performance indicators perspective, you can say, wow, I'm performing at 60%. Is
Yeah.
that satisfactory? Or tomorrow you're going to do 80%,
Ex-
100%.
right. Exactly. Exactly. Because maybe the day before you only did 30%. Now
And
you've
you see
doubled it.
progression, and you see progression. Yeah,
So that way you don't beat yourself up in the process. You can see
exactly.
things are happening. So yeah, I think that's some good gems for today.
So I apologize if I digressed and brought us back to another conversation. But
It's fine because you never know what people need. So, oh, as you often say on our calls on Friday, the spirit is leading me.